Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyperconscious Podcast is proudly sponsored by our friend and mentor, David Meltzer of the Playbook Podcast. He was kind enough to join us on episode 144 and 135.
Folks, it has become Kevin and I's mission in life to help you realize that the life of your dreams is right on the other side of you becoming the greatest version of yourself. Let us help you do that.
I rarely do these things twice in such a short amount of time, but you guys impress me. I believe in people that provide value and of our service. You two guys are on your way to huge fulfillment, purpose, and profitability, and I look forward to helping you both.
We appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where Alan and I sat down and did a Your World Within live recap. Today, for episode number 216 in our new studio setup, we are going to do a Small Talks episode on the word change.
So I'm going to define the word change, but before I do that, I want you to go to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com, click on join hashtag HyperConsciousNation. Folks, the Facebook group, we have people engaging in there. There was a mastermind this past Saturday that actually didn't include Kevin and I.
No.
If you don't feel supported by your community, this is the place for you.
Yes.
All things hyperconscious.
Yes.
Right.
And also, if Alan, or most likely myself, says something that inspires you or motivates you, feel free to screenshot it and share it on Instagram, tag Alan and myself, and we will reshare it. We appreciate you guys, and again, we're trying to make the whole world as hyper-conscious as humanly possible. Also, Alan and I did a speech last night to some younger kids.
Yes.
And if you or anybody you know is looking for speakers who want to perpetuate mindset and mindfulness and habits and all the stuff that we talk about, Alan and I are really trying to ramp up our speaking careers, so let us know.
Yeah, if you know of any opportunities, please reach out ASAP.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to define the word change on dictionary.com, and there's several different definitions. The first one, to transform or convert. The second one, to substitute another or others for, exchange for something else, usually of the same kind. To transfer from one to another, to give or get an equivalent amount of money in lower denominations in exchange for change. That's the wrong definition.
Right.
Right.
Can I get change for a 10?
Change, the verb. Here we go.
Wow.
Verb. There's so many definitions. To become different, to become altered or modified, to become transformed or converted. Those are all very relevant. To switch or to make an exchange. To pass gradually. Oh, my phone is messing up here.
Classic.
Here we go. Hold on. To pass gradually into, usually followed by to or into. So like summer changing to spring. The seasons of life and the change associated. And that's basically, I think that's a good.
I think that's enough.
Right.
I think that's enough. Something that Alan and I always talk about is change, but I don't think we've ever really done an episode on it. And no matter where you are in your journey, no matter where you are in your life, no matter where you are in your area of growth, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's your body, your business, like whatever it is, you are going to go through change, and how you handle change is a great indicator of how you're going to, like whether or not you're going to succeed or fail.
Yeah.
You know, change will occur whether you want it to or not, and it's really all on how you handle it that matters.
100%. And change is something that it's the only constant.
Yeah.
That change is always
Some
going
would
to
say
happen.
change is inevitable. Some would say.
Some
have said that.
Some have said that.
Sipping this
So I
coffee
prepped
here.
for this. Some dunks. Yeah. Well, we'll have to get them sponsoring the show. No,
Eventually.
right? All right, first flashcard for Kevin. Change can be really difficult, but all growth requires change by definition. My first question is simple. For the listeners, why did we decide to do this episode on change, and what do you hope they take away from this?
Honestly, I don't remember why we decided to do this episode on change.
I think it's because of Your World Within Live and a lot of changes that have been going on in our lives.
I think that it would be really easy for you and I to focus on the amount of overwhelm that we're dealing with and not focus on the fact that, like, these are all changing. What our reality is now is the effect of the things that we've been doing. Like, this is the compound effect that we're dealing with now, being able to speak and having clients and traveling and the opportunities that we have behind the scenes that we can't even talk about yet.
Right.
All the changes that we're going through are the ones that not only are necessary, but they were desired at one point. And I think that it gets lost sometimes how awesome the changes actually are.
Yeah.
Because they are uncomfortable for sure, but so wasn't where I was before.
I think all change is uncomfortable.
I think it has to be because it's uncertainty.
Like, we have a new studio.
Right.
And
This is our first episode.
in the new studio.
Right.
And we had to basically take the old studio, break it down, and bring it here. And then right before this, we were a little flustered at figuring out the camera again. And not bad, not a big deal.
No.
But it is a whole new setup.
And, like, let's be real. So, again, Alan and I got back from our speech last night. We watched our speech, and
Right.
I didn't leave here until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So I didn't go to bed till like 3.
Yeah.
And I'm here again, and I'm going to be here
Yep.
another day this week when we went, for a podcast. So it's just you have to be grateful for the stuff that's changing, and you have to have perspective.
Especially when it's changes you once dreamed
Yeah,
for.
these were fantasies at one point.
I figured out why we did the episode, I remember. So
Go
you and
on.
I had a conversation where basically everyone who went to Your World Within Live is going through
Right.
so basically they transformed at the event to some extent, and I said this at that event. My favorite part about it is that everyone's dreams are going to be greater now. Everyone's going to leave with bigger dreams before. Then they go back to an old environment, and it's uncomfortable at first, and then it's like, okay, I learned so much at the event. How do I implement the actual changes?
Yeah.
Because talking about change and then actually doing it is completely different.
Yeah, I learned that very quickly so that's the thing, like I literally I pulled aside a couple members of Hyperconscious Nation and said, "Hey, don't freak out when you go home because it's going to be a lot."
Right.
The only reason I know that is because I lost my mind after Brendan Burchard's event. I had no idea. I literally, it took me like a week to get back.
I know.
So
Me too.
it's hard.
I hit Anthony Trucks up and I was like, I feel weird. I feel
It's
off.
hard.
Yeah.
But that's the change that you need, most likely.
I'm gonna say this. I won't name any names, but basically, most of the people that went to Your World Within Live that are in my life or clients of mine, they've all reached out to me in one form or another, burning down.
Yeah.
And by burning down, I mean they're really having trouble going back to their old environments and their old life.
Well, the problem is, and this is an interesting thing, when you and I leave that event, I mean, yeah, our perspective changes and our, like, what we think is possible changes, but we go back to the same life. I still hang out with you. I hang out with Matt. I hang out with Taryn.
Right.
The people in my life are because I think they're going to help me get to my goals. And if you're watching or listening to this and maybe you went back to the bank or maybe you went back to your marketing job or whatever, and you're thinking to yourself, like, I don't want to be around these people because they don't have the same goals, dreams, ambitions,
Right.
thoughts, values, morals that I do. I can understand why you're struggling because you know there's another option and you don't feel like you can get there yet.
Right. That's exactly what everyone's going
Yeah,
through.
it makes
100%.
sense. It makes sense.
It does. So I'll go off script here for a second. What do you think the first step is for people in that place? Because there's a lot of people who went to that event again that are trying to figure out, like, it's kind of overwhelming when you go home and it's like, okay, now I have all these aspirations, but how do I actually make them a reality? Where do I even start?
Get clear on what your actual aspirations are.
Right.
Like, yeah, you're going to be motivated. You're going to be inspired to do what though?
That's what I'm saying.
It's each case it's case sensitive. It depends on the person. If you left that and you're like, oh, I really want to start a business. Okay, cool. Let's get clear on what you think you would be happy doing.
Right.
Why do you want to get out of your job? What is it about your job? Is it the fact that you're tied somewhere and you want to be able to do your own thing? Okay, let's figure out how to do that. Travel blog, be a photographer. You
Right.
could be a podcaster. You could be a lot of things. I think the thing is, you're so hyped up and you're so motivated that you forget that you still have to have a vehicle to do. Like, you still have to have a vehicle to get into and accomplish all these goals.
Right. Real life is different than a networking event.
Yeah. When you get home, that's the thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm capable of so much. Like, if that person can do it, I can do it. But
right.
what do I want to do?
Right.
What do I want to do?
And where do I start, and how do I continue? How do I create a new? I would say pave a new runway. I would say first figure out what you want your new life to look like, and then start somewhere in terms of a new system of success.
And there's a chance that when you went to that event, you had something you were itching to do anyway.
right,
And
most
that-
likely, and it got uncovered.
Right. And that might have given you the answer of like, I really should double. Maybe it's time for me to do this.
Right.
Again, when I went to Brendan Burchard's event, I had no plans of buying a program.
Yeah.
And it literally, that's the only time I've ever bought anything from anybody like that. I disliked it before that. And I spent $2,000 of money that I didn't have because I knew it would make me better.
Right.
So it's going to shake things loose. You're going to meet people that inspire you. You're going to feel like you're part of a grander scheme.
Why did we go to Florida for a month? You remember? I don't even remember.
Because for our online training programs.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was because we went to the Brendan Burchard event.
Yeah.
And if we didn't do that,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have had Your World Within Live happen.
yeah.
So, yeah, don't underestimate the long term. Yeah.
I just make sure that you're not only accepting of the change, but you're focused on the positives of it too.
yeah.
'Cause
Even
if you
though it
don't-
kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah, of course. But if you don't focus on the positives, you're going to assume it's a negative and you're not going to take any action. And if you do take action, it's going to be a negative change.
If you don't take action, it's going to be a negative change.
Because then what's changing is just, it's not by design.
Right,
It's
exactly.
by accident.
It's
not
by-
intentional.
Yeah. Next question here.
Yes.
Over these past few years, you've undergone tremendous growth and, again, by definition, tremendous change. I want to get real specific here. So, for the listeners, can you please showcase 3 specific things that you used to do on a daily basis, and take your time, that you no longer do?
Oh, man. Number 1, smoking weed.
So glad.
You know, I used to say like I wasn't addicted, but I think I kind of was. I think I kind of was. And whatever, if you smoke, like, you do your thing. I just got to the point where I didn't feel like I was as intelligent. I felt like it was holding me back. I felt like I couldn't be there for my clients when I needed to. And I just didn't. You know what another thing is? I didn't think I would be able to find the girl of my dreams, honestly. I genuinely was like, do I want a girl who wants to sit around and smoke weed? Like, I kind of don't. So how am I going to be that guy? I really had to become what I wanted.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that more than anything. And that's what the law of attraction is. You become what you want, and then you're able to get it.
That's what happened with you and Taryn.
Right. So number 1, not smoking weed. Number 2, I would literally, how long ago are we talking here?
Dude, anything in the last 2 years since the podcast, for me, that's the line of demarcation for your transformation.
Netflix. Like, I used to literally sit around and watch movies all day.
Right.
Like, I would have days where I literally, and these weren't planned days. They weren't like rest days. It was just like, I don't feel like working today. Days. I just wouldn't do anything because I felt like I didn't have enough to do. So, and that doesn't happen anymore.
Nope.
Like today, for instance, let's just
when
use
was the
this.
last time you felt like you didn't have enough to do?
I don't, never, man. Never. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm like, oh, you should be doing more.
He walked out of the new studio recently, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to take my fishing stuff out of here. I don't think I'm ever going to fish again. It was hilarious.
It's true. But what was I saying?
Netflix.
Today, for example, today was an easy day for me. Today was an easy day. I woke up because I went to bed at 3. I woke up at 9. I went to the gym.
Yeah.
I had a very important business call with something behind the scenes that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Then I drove down here, and now we're going to record 3 episodes, and I'm going to go home. When I go home, I'm allowing myself to R&R.
Yeah.
But at one point, a day like this would kill me. And now
Right.
it's an easy day.
Yeah.
Right? So that's, as you get better, things get easier. And at one point, I couldn't do this. So it's like a day like today, I wouldn't have done anything. I would have been sitting around doing nothing.
Well, that's all relative.
So that's number 2. Number 3, scheduling, man.
right.
Like, I live by my schedule now. I do, and I never used to do that before. I really wish, like we were talking about this at the speech last night, I really wish you could see me 3 years ago before any of this happened, because if you don't believe in yourself now, you would have.
That's why I ask you these questions so much.
I know,
So I
I
can
know.
constantly showcase what's possible for other people.
Anything is possible.
Right.
Anything is
It's
possible.
unbelievable.
I am nothing, like, I am my habits.
yeah.
I'm doing a video on that tonight from the Totally Well show when I was interviewed. My habits. The only reason I have the results I have is because I have the habits I have, and that's all. You just got to adopt the habits. That's it.
So number 1 was smoking weed.
Smoking
you used to do
weed,
that every
smoking
day,
ganja.
and now you don't smoke any.
No,
The
over-
other thing I want to say about that too,
over a year.
in Florida, you had the lung thing, the
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
And one of the things that Phil Krizmanich really, 2 Marines, 1 Mike, this always stuck with me ever since that episode we did with them. When the pain is great enough, you will change.
Yeah.
Human beings change through massive trauma. Think about if you have a heart attack, you're most likely going to start eating better if you survive the heart attack. Like, that's how humans change. So it's like the pain-pleasure pendulum.
Mhm.
So you needed to change for several reasons. You already had a lot of reasons to change, but you didn't actually change until you had those panic attacks.
Yeah. Oh, that's what really facilitated the change.
So when people are in the pressure cooker like that and they know they want to make a change, how do they put themselves up the pain pendulum so they actually shift?
I genuinely didn't believe I could get the results I wanted with the actions I was taking. And I put myself in pain.
By smoking?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I wasn't the best version of myself.
So you couldn't get the girl you wanted.
I
and
couldn't
you
get the girl I wanted. I didn't think I could be a great coach. I didn't think I could be, because I used to, again, this all started, I wanted to be Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan smokes in podcasts. Like, he literally smokes on his podcast.
Right.
And in my mind, I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool to do.
Right.
And then it evolved from that. And then I think sometimes change is not only inevitable, but it's necessary. Sometimes you have to facilitate the change.
I think-
Sometimes it's facilitated for you.
Are you glad you stopped?
For sure. For sure.
Nice.
There's no regret. I don't miss it.
Right.
I'm happier now. I'm far more productive. I feel like my cognitive abilities, although they're not showcasing right now because I'm a little bit tired, but I feel like they're far better than they ever have been. I think my memory's better.
Nice.
I genuinely feel better about it. But again, you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. I got nothing against it.
Right.
It just it affects me differently than it affects a lot of other people.
Weed, Netflix. What was the third one?
Not scheduling anything, just flying by
Right.
the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
what
right.
Am I gonna do today?
Right. Just winging it. Winging
Netflix.
it. Okay. So
All right,
lots to contemplate.
Do you have
there.
another question?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we got to hammer it because we're
Okay.
already over.
This is the last
And
question.
The timer says quadruple zero.
We didn't click the
No,
timer.
no.
New studio, growing pains.
Yes.
All right. Last question for Kevin. Small talks on change.
Yes. Some would say.
Now for the flip side, I can't even read. Now for the flip side of that last question, you know what it is? My handwriting sucks.
It's
For
not
the,
false.
For the listeners, what are 3 specific things that you now do on a daily basis? And again, take your time. Don't take your time. We don't have time.
Right. No.
That you never used to do. So
Oh, man.
we just did 3 things you used to do
yeah,
daily
yeah.
that you no longer do. Now what do you do that you never used to do?
I learn every single day.
Ah,
Every single day.
perfect.
Today, for instance, I slept in. Instead of doing a normal audiobook, I played my interview on the Totally Well show so I could
Get better.
get better. Right.
Perfect.
So there's number one.
Learning from self.
Learning from self. It's not every day, but I have mentors. Like in masterminds, it's almost every day.
Yeah.
You know, I would consider that an unbelievably important thing. At one point, I didn't have anybody in my life who had the results I wanted necessarily,
Isn't that crazy?
or I wasn't willing to listen to them. So,
Crazy.
one, what did I say?
Learning every day.
Learning every day. Number 2, mentors. Number 3, working. Like every single day I work. Every single day.
I know.
And it's not a bad thing.
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
mean it in a bad way.
No, I know.
But I don't know the last time,
It's the best.
I don't know, as Evan would say, it's the best.
It is the best.
I don't know the
genuinely
last
mean that.
time I didn't do something for the podcast. I don't know a day that the last time.
Right.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, same.
So-
That's fire, man. This
That's-
episode's been really good.
That's that.
Nice. Lastly,
Quickly.
can you please reflect openly about the challenge of implementing those changes?
Oh, yeah. It's expect to fail. and not in a bad
Right.
way. I genuinely, like, you're going to fail no matter what at first. And that's fine. And that's where a lot of changes come from. You fail and you make another change.
You mean specific about something you struggled
Um,
to implement? Out of those 6 things you said, so the first one, recap real quick, was smoking weed.
Yeah.
So stopping that, stopping the Netflix binging.
I can do it right now.
Yeah,
I can do it right now. When I first quit smoking, I got FOMO because people around me would smoke, and I was like, "Oh man, I kind of miss it a little bit. And then I realized I want to be the best in the world, and they don't. So they can do it, and I don't have to.
Right. Trade-offs to everything.
Yeah, and that's a trade-off I'm willing to accept. I will probably never smoke again, ever, and I don't care.
Right.
That's a trade-off. Like, I want to be the best in the world at this. I want to help people. I want to coach people. I want to speak. I want to do podcasts. Like, my goals, I will make my goals if I allow my goals to make me the person who deserves them. And that's what sometimes you need to get rid of this stuff, the extra weight, and that's what it was.
Amen, brother.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Really powerful.
You dig it?
10-second blip on change.
Wow. No matter where you are in your life, no matter what you're doing, change is not only inevitable, but it is most likely necessary. Make sure you do not run from it. Make sure you do not hide from it. When it happens, own it, because more often than not, you will come out on the other side stronger.
Strong work.
Dig it?
I dig it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Up next for episode number 217, we are going to do a Scratching the Surface episode on how to learn from failure.
Quick plug on that. We went to a speech last night that Kevin and I believe we did not give our best performance.
Correct.
And
That's
it was
accurate.
challenges we've never faced before, and we immediately took wins out of the quote-unquote loss, and now it's a major win.
Yeah, we were going to go into detail about all of that and how we literally got home and said, all right, bring on the pain. Like, let's review this rep and see what happened.
Exactly.
And we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you will enjoy that, and we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.